All right, good morning. This is On the Fly with Kai, and today is September, I can't believe it, 16th, and this is our 38th episode of the show where we come to you every single week with tips, tricks, and hacks for entrepreneurs. And what I really am all about is bringing to you really people that I use, that I trust, that I want to bring my tribe to you so that you can be educated, be a better entrepreneur, make some better decisions, and do better in your business. And so today, I'm bringing to you a gal that I've actually used many times to do some branding photos for me. We met at a chamber, and actually, she was the event photographer there and in a leads group over there. And what's really fun is she's been doing this for 16 years. She's kind of started off really doing families and headshots, and then evolved into seniors, and which kind of makes sense because having a voice for a senior is very similar for branding. She's a Bay Area native and just loves working with clients and getting them the voice visually that they need to be able to articulate their business and what they're all about. So please help me welcome to the show, Christy Wright. And Christy, when you're not talking, you should probably hit mute because there's a lot of background. But
Okay.
what I will say is, I'd love for them just to meet you. You and I have worked together since 2018. I love what you're up to. You're amazing. Tell everybody a little bit about how you went from interior design to photography.
Absolutely. Okay. Sorry about the feedback. Hopefully, it's not too bad. But yeah, I was a commercial interior designer for 14 years, and I love doing that. Once a designer, always a designer. So I have that creative side to me. And after having several bosses in a row that were a little unbearable, I mean, more than a little unbearable, I wanted to find something else. So I pivoted over to photography, and it was something that I could do. I could start. I didn't need a ton of seed money to get into it, and it was great. I loved it. So that's basically how I started. I just wanted to be my own boss.
And how scary was that? Because I know those people that are watching the show are either already entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs and looking to be an entrepreneur. Did you go full time right away? Did you start doing weekends with weddings, or how did it transition?
Got it. Well, I did have, by not working full time away from the house, I was able to be home. I had more flexibility. I had a young family at that time, so it did give me more. It did give me more time at home. I was married, so I didn't have. I wasn't worried about benefits because I could work on my husband's benefits. So that was helpful, and I just had a lot of flexibility.
Awesome. Well, I love what you're up to. I think you are very talented, and I've worked with a lot of people doing, everything from headshots to branding, and I keep coming back to you. And we had a little bit of an argument here
I
earlier.
appreciate that, Kai, because I know you know a lot of people, and you have a lot of resources available to you. I mean, like just people that want to work with you. So I do notice that, and I do appreciate you coming back to me.
Yeah, well, I know we had a little bit of an argument before we got on here because I was saying, I just think headshots are dead. That old stuffy with the suit on and the I was like, I'm so over that. And you're saying no, there's a place for both. And so I'd love for you to talk about what is branding, what is a headshot, and just a discussion about when you need one and when you need the other.
Yeah. Okay. So what Kai was saying is she thinks the headshot is dead, and I said it is not. No, it is not. It's very important, and this is why. Is because if if you're a working person and you are trying to present yourself professionally, even if you're in a creative field, no matter what you're working in, you need to convey that, and it needs to. You're if you're on LinkedIn or you're putting yourself out and trying to get hired, you need to show people that one, you've thought about your head, you've thought about the picture or whatever however you're presenting yourself. So it needs to be professional. You don't want it to be a picture of four of you where you've cropped someone out and you can see their shoulder or their arm. That just doesn't. It's not very professional. So so for that reason, I think headshots are very important. Now for branding is when you have your story, you have your business, you have something that you're presenting or selling. sharing, and you're trying to get that message out. So branding in a series of pictures shows what you do and shows who you are. So in a nutshell, that's what branding is.
So branding is putting a visual voice to what it is that your business or your personality is all about. And we have worked together on, I think, 3 or 4 branding shoots, you and I. And we're both evolving, I will tell you. But a couple things, you are really good at the what, where, when. So you're always thinking about what are we trying to convey? Why are we doing this? And so you've always sent me some great ideas like, hey, what do you like to do? I'm like, well, I like to hula hoop, So talk to people about how are they going to find out what they should be shooting.
Yeah,
And then, you said the next things we need to do is in October so we can hit the fall. And so talk to them a little bit about, why. What are
okay,
they looking for to get it done?
absolutely. So for branding, for any sort of pictures, I think the number one thing in success in getting a flattering picture is feeling comfortable. So we need to build a rapport. It is not easy getting your picture taken. I understand that. People don't know what to do, how to pose, what to bring, what to wear. So it is my job to guide them through that. And then once we're there for the session, it's my job to make you feel comfortable and to give you enough direction that you know what to do. Um, as far the second thing that helps for a successful branding photo session is to be prepared. And Kai, you are so good at this. If anyone ever has any questions, they should ask Kai about that. So you need to. I always ask you, and all my branding people, what are you trying to say? What story are you trying to tell? So if you're trying to say like that you're approachable, that you like I'm working with a nutritionist right now, and she needs to convey that she's good with nutrition, she's good with well-being, she's an expert at exercise. So she has all these different um, qualities that she's good at, but also she's approachable and she's trustworthy. People will trust her. So that's super important for me to know so we can figure out, okay, how do we do the nutrition? Plus, she said she needs 6 pictures. So, how do we convey all that in 6 images? So, we do the nutrition image, with her smiling and cooking, maybe. And then we do the exercise picture, but that she needs to be relatable. So it's important that we think ahead and plan it all out. Which Kai, like when you come, you bring a suitcase, you have like 6 different outfits, you have everything, all your jewelry and all your accessories are in 6 different plastic bags, and we shoot for 6 different scenes. So, and then we get a whole bunch of variety, and you have 3 months of social media pictures, images that you have in your pocket to share.
So many things came up for me on this. It's unbelievable. So, number one, on the comfortable part, I think it's important too that if you're going to do a branding shoot, and they're not cheap, so you need to, get the most out of this hour, 2 hours, whatever you're paying
Yeah,
for.
you want to maximize your time.
Yeah. So what I did was I just Googled branding photos, branding shots, and I got a lot of ideas on, what do I want to bring my computer, my phone, my laptop, my tablet? What are you looking to really convey? What props and things like that. So was it, the hula hoop? Is it sunglasses? Is it, so really that preparation will make you comfortable because now you have ideas of poses because it is like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then you want to find somebody good like Christy that can say, hey, girl, quit looking at the camera and look over to the side out over there. And I'm like, oh, yeah,
Start cracking up.
right. So that helps too. So it's a collaboration. It's not you're going in and being told what to do. You've really got to collaborate. And, I used, like you said, I used those little packing cubes.
Mm-hmm.
And that way I have 6 outfits in every packing cube, 6 cubes with all these different outfits. And the jewelry's in there in a little pouch. So I can just switch that up. And it's funny because like I'll do my hair even different. I'll put it in a pony, I'll do it down the middle, I'll do it on the side so that it doesn't look the same. It looks like it's different days, different things. So
Yes.
bring a mirror so you can look at that really quick because you're in your car. I mean, and where have we changed? Oh my gosh, in bathrooms.
Well, now there's no bathrooms available
I
anyway.
know.
Everyone changes in the car. We do a beach change. You put up the towel if we need to. So,
So you can't be very modest either because I just don't care.
you just wear a tank, like a tight tank top underneath, and you can change. So, but it's
Absolutely.
good. It is smart to, yeah. If you are using a brand, like for you, we have the subscription model going on. So we do images once every 4 months for a whole year, and so you want to change clothes, you want to change your hairstyle, you want to make it look different. You don't need 60 pictures all in the same outfit. You need variety.
Absolutely. And I love that, you're always interviewing us. Like, what is it that you want to convey? And that's
Who is your target? Who's your client? So you have to think about that stuff. So that's one of the things that comes with my branding sessions is the meeting ahead of time so that we can strategize about it and get you thinking about things that one about your audience and two about how can you reveal yourself in a relatable way.
Yeah, and you can ask questions also, especially if you're on Facebook. We can see your questions. So if you've got questions for Christy, please feel free to put them in there. Now, we talked about different social media platforms needing different things. Can you speak to those different platforms for us?
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so obviously LinkedIn is where you have your most professional and your one shot of you. It's a pretty close, pretty tight shot. Facebook, you can reveal a lot more about yourself, and it's Kai. It's a good spot, like for the stuff that we've done. It's a good spot for you to put. You talk about it's a kind of a mix of professional and personal, so people can get to know you. They want to know you do good work. That's the first thing, that you're professional in your field, and the second thing is they want to believe in you and they want to trust you and they want to like you. So that's how you can show it in Facebook. Um, those are the two main ones. Uh, uh, Instagram and Facebook is similar, but there's obviously less. Instagram is a little more just graphic and less conversation. The conversation doesn't flow as much in the comments on Instagram.
And it's interesting too because I post a lot. I do. And it's so bizarre. Like you want to get good reactions. It's always pictures of your face. Like if I post anything other than my face, it's very bizarre. The
Mm.
reaction is not nearly as good. So it's important. People are wanting to see you.
Yep.
So I like to do a mix of your Christy pictures that are very, polished and whatnot. And then the next day post one of just me at my desk that I took myself.
Well,
What are,
what?
yeah,
You know what they like about that? People want authentic. They want authentic. I mean, so number one, professional for sure. They want to trust you. Two, authentic. Who are you? What do you really do? And so everything that just things are getting, I mean, a couple years ago, everything was polished. And now things have like the layers have pulled back and they want authentic. People want to believe in you. They don't want your PR firm to be creating all this content for you. They want to see what you're really doing.
agreed. And so it's been a fine line, especially because, like, I think, like you said, the different mediums are different. So, like on LinkedIn, you're posting business things. But if you're posting business things, like we just talked about Facebook, business page is not doing anything for a business owner unless you're paying. They don't show it to anybody. It's not serving anybody. So you have to use your personal page, but you got to be careful because if you do too much business, they'll shut you down. So there is a fine line, right,
A fine
Christy?
line. Definitely a fine line. So, I mean, you just have to figure out what works for you. I personally have my business page, which I do. It's basically all business stuff, but often I share it to my personal page because I have people from my business page. I don't want to transfer everybody who's on my business page, I don't necessarily know them, so I don't want them really in my private life on my personal page. So it's just a fine line. I don't know, and you always just have to keep up with Facebook and Instagram. They're always changing what they like and what their parameters are and how far your SEO, how far the reach is. So you just have to keep learning and figuring it out and experimenting and see what works for you.
Yeah, exactly. And then I know that like there are, people that just won't hire somebody as often as like I hire you. Do you have some tips for those people that are kind of a do-it-yourselfer with the iPhone, that want to take some decent shots? Like, is it lighting most important? Like, give them a couple of 3 or 4 tips to take some really great photos if you're kind of doing it on your own. And then when should we hire you will be my second question. So if you want to do it on your own, what are some tips?
Um, well, I find that it's helpful if you can find someone to take pictures of you. You're doing something. I think everybody's whatever job or you have, it's you can find something interesting. But if you can get someone to take that picture of you doing it, that is helpful because it's really extremely hard to take your own picture and market it. And I mean, everyone can do a selfie for sure, but if you're trying to get something a little different, so just uh, find your best friend or your partner, your kid, or somebody to help you out. And then what was the second question?
No, so like, what do they need to do? I think lighting's important. I think, I use a tripod a lot of times, or my husband says he's an Instagram husband because I'm always like, "Will you take a picture of me?" He's like, "Oh Lord, have mercy." That kind of thing. Is there any other tips that someone who's a do-it-yourselfer can do to make sure their pictures turn out better when they have to do it themselves? Because I do a lot myself too.
Well, and sure, because you're posting all the time, which is awesome. So I think your background and making sure that you created a nice image and you really look at all corners of your frame and that you don't have, like, if you're taking pictures in your kitchen, you don't have any random items on the floor
Dirty
or on
dishes.
the counter, or you go outside and you get just kind of a nice background. And then crop. You need to really make sure that you afterwards that you look at your picture one more time and retouch it and edit it. So that's helpful.
And I have an app that I like. It does a little bit overkill, but I use Lensa.
Mm.
And you got to be careful because if you turn it on all the way, you're going to like reverse age and you'll look like you're an infant, which is, not very realistic. Then they'll see you in person and they'll be like, "What happened to you?" You know, those photos that I'm talking about, Christy, where like the
Yeah,
realtor has the picture from like 70 years ago.
yeah, yeah. They need a new one. They need an authentic one, right?
Yeah. And I guess that's what I meant when the headshots are dead. Like just this whole, it's done. I mean, people want to see you, in your element, being yourself. Like I think one of my favorite ones, just even a headshot for a realtor, she had keys in her hands, like, and it
Mhm.
was adorable. And I loved that headshot. That's what I mean more by a headshot. Like, what
Yeah,
is it? It doesn't have to be with that, cheesy senior background. And you don't do those senior pictures either.
right.
The cheesy background with the, whatever. I'm just visualizing that when I'm thinking headshot. And in fact, this is the headshot I'm thinking of with the cheesy background. See the little gray,
Got it.
the
Yeah. Well, I mean, that one is that from 8 years ago, 10 years ago. So that's what everybody was doing then.
yeah.
So things have changed, things have evolved. I mean, we all have nice cameras on our phones, so Apple has made it very easy for everyone to be able to create a nice picture. So you just have to think about the other elements and try to, I don't know, be authentic, stand out, and try to let your personality shine through. So those things are always important.
And so when would somebody hire someone like you? You know what I mean? So for a long time, I've been working with you since 2018. So I've been using you for 4 years to just get better shots. But when would someone bite the bullet and say, "Okay, I really need to up my game"?
Yeah. Well, if you want to elevate what you have, if you want a partner and someone to help you, I think one of the things that I've found when I started doing branding, and for each client that I work with, I really enjoy talking to them and figuring out how are we going to shoot this? Who are you targeting? How are you going to do that? And so I it's like this riddle that we're trying to, or puzzle that we're trying to put together. And so one, I really love that, and I help the clients come up with um, images and scenarios that they hadn't thought of before. And I
You're
have
really good at that.
to them. So it's really fun for me. It's super creative, and that's a totally different side of my brain than the photography, the image part. So I really love working with them. So if you need someone that is a partner and helps you kind of create your brand, and if you need if you need something for your website, you need something for social media, and you need more than just one or two, then reach out to someone and they can help you. We can make things a lot easier for you.
That's a good point. So like I would say you definitely want to hire somebody if you're going a website route. If you're just doing social media, you may not. If you want some great pictures for website, it's very important. And like you said, it's important you got a few money shots for LinkedIn, your, collateral and all that stuff. Interesting too, like one of the things that I mentioned is the preparation. And I really prefer to bring somebody with me. So like when we've done one, I brought my admin with me. I don't have one right now. So if anybody wants to come work for me, I'm in Sunnyvale. I pay a W-2, 19, 20 bucks an hour. I need somebody 10 to 20 hours a week. There you go. But I say that to say it really helps. Like I know you've had people bring their moms, it's helpful.
It is helpful to have another body. They can be the runner. Even the last time with you and I there, it would have been helpful to have someone to go back and forth to your car,
Yeah.
save a little bit of time. I mean, when we were shooting, it was really hot. So just the extra going back and forth, just I'm sure increased both of us. We were our heat level. But yeah, it can be helpful, but you don't need that. I don't want anyone to think, oh my gosh, I don't have an admin, I don't have somebody. You just need to be prepared ahead of time. We both know the schedule, so we know what order we're shooting the pictures in and any outfits that I have to change into. So, I mean, the key is being prepared, right? As with almost everything. So the key is being prepared, and then we know what we're shooting for, and we make it fun along the way. So you and I, when we work together, we're always laughing. I'm always getting you to do stuff. You're like, why would I do that? I go, just crack yourself up, Kai. Just laugh. Do a fake laugh. And you're like, this is so weird. But then after that, we get this super, very flattering, smiling, laughing, natural picture of you. And so, it's fun to do different things. And I do always enjoy working with you.
I love working with you too. It'd also be fun if you had that second person to take some behind the scenes pictures. So I used my tripod and we took some video and behind the scenes photos, but it would be helpful if you had somebody to help you do that because those are great. And I shared them with Christy so she could put them, wherever, like this is behind the scenes. And those are always fun to post too. I love, love, love doing that as
It
well.
is helpful. I do always, when I do the high school seniors, when we go on location to 3 different spots and they have change of clothes as well, and we're doing these really unique things, I do always have a parent there to help. And I always ask mom to do behind the scenes so she can, one, she has that memory because it's a really wonderful experience. And two, she can send it to me and then I can share it with my audience. And it helps them understand really, I mean, especially for adults probably have not had their picture taken very often by a professional photographer, but a 17 or 18-year-old high school senior probably hasn't either. So it's helpful for them to see what it's really like.
Yeah, and I feel like you're a student of all. I mean, you and I both are consummate students. We're always studying our craft and professional development. Are there any great resources, podcasts, or books around branding or photography that you could recommend?
Oh, gee. Let's see. I can't think of any right now because I do study all the time, but it's more for, it's more for specifically for photographers and how we deal with our clients. I'm just always reading stuff about new equipment, and I really like to study trends. Like for me, it's really helpful to see other pictures and see what's happening. and I can see when what is changing. And so, like the whole thing about just being authentic and less professional, that's helpful to me. So I just study. I'm constantly on Facebook and looking at specific professional brands and seeing what they're putting out, different content, and absorbing that.
Yeah, and you really we took it down a notch because I always wore jeans and things like that, but we really took it down a notch our last photo shoot for just being super casual. And so whatever you want to portray, I think the questions are really important. And if you work with someone like Christy, maybe they'll give you a questionnaire before you get started, or interview you before you do things. That's super important too. And then sort of in closing here, is there any really big no-nos that you see when you're on social media that you're like, oh, woman, is it, big glaring, oh my gosh, what are you thinking out there?
Well, I do not like the trend on Instagram I follow a lot of high school seniors, so I don't like the trend of that they wear their bathing suits. I think I think sometimes things are very revealing for the young girls, and I just really do not like that. I would never post or take pictures of anyone that just wasn't appropriate and tasteful. As far as business, I think, you know what, Kai? I think that people are afraid to post. They're afraid to reveal themselves. And that when people do, like when you really reveal yourself about something that's going on, I occasionally do it just on my personal Facebook. Those are the posts that get tons of feedback. So if you can share like how you're feeling, either through pictures and describing it, that's a really powerful combination, and people respond to that in a very favorable way.
Yep, the name of the game now is definitely be yourself, because everyone else is taken. And if you aren't in a position to hire a photographer yet, do the best you can, do a lot of research, look and see, like you said, what are trends. I'd look at branding photos and see what's good out there and what's working. And then if people wanted to engage with you further, maybe ask some questions about, maybe they got some ideas, maybe they want to interview you as a potential photographer for their seniors, how would they best engage with you?
Well, the best way, you can look me up on my website, which is cwrightphotos.com. My name, Christy Wright, cwrightphotos.com, or you can call or text me, which is 408-802-9289. And Kai, I think just the number one thing when you're working with someone, you just want to feel comfortable with them. So that's with anyone. So hopefully, if someone's looking for a photographer, look around, and once you have that rapport, then you guys will work together and, have some successful images.
And then Jeannie said, think about your goal for the photo is so important. I appreciate you watching, Jeannie. She's always on here. And then to engage further with Christy, there is her website. There is her phone number. So for those of you who are watching the replay or on YouTube, you may not see the chat. So take a screenshot of that. And there you go. So I just want to say thank you again, Christy, for being here today. It was a great conversation, and I love working with you.
It was my pleasure to talk to you, and it's always my pleasure to work with you because you're just a dynamo, and you just are fun to work with.
Great. Well, hang tight then, Christy. For everybody else, I just want to thank you for watching another episode of On the Fly with Kai, where we go over tips, tricks, and hacks to really, help you elevate your game, get started in your game, or fine tune your game. And I'm so excited to be able to always bring people that I personally know, personally have worked with, or have done business with, bring my tribe to you to really take some time off your learning curve in the entrepreneur game. So with that, take care, take charge, and we'll see you over the top. See you next week at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, or 10 a.m. Pacific time, all time zones in between every Thursday. Bye-bye.